Hello SmartBear Community! Please check out the new interview of SmartBear Community leaders. Today our guest is Carson Underwood. Carson started his career around 12 years ago, and today he will share exclusive advice for new members of how to be successful in the industry. This October, Carson will be a speaker at SmartBear Connect, and in this video he will give you a sneak peek of his speech. So let's start.
Hello SmartBear Community. Today I'm happy to welcome Carson Underwood, our many-time SmartBear Community leader and long-standing SmartBear Connect speaker. So hello Carson, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm good, thank you. Please tell us a bit about yourself. Where are you from? What are your hobbies for the community?
Great. I'm from Springfield, Missouri, Midwest of the United States. I have been in software development for the past about 12 years. I started off in video game development. Video games are always a passion of mine. I did that for 7 or so years, worked with a small local independent video game studio. Did everything from QA testing to project management to level design and level scripting, even did some of our audio work, sound effects, music, and stuff like that. Currently, I work at O'Reilly Auto Parts in their corporate IT department, and I oversee all of our QA automation efforts, whether it be UI functional testing, API testing, so on and so forth. Some of my hobbies still kind of include music. Every now and then I'll still do contract work for small independent video games, making soundtracks and sound effects for them.
Wow.
Other than that, I like to barbecue a lot. I do that pretty much every weekend, and my wife and I go camping and floating as much as we can.
Okay, can we expect to have some barbecue at SmartBear Connect this year from you?
I mean, if they want to provide me with a smoker up there, yeah, I can try to get something going.
Okay, we will do this. Okay, deal.
I don't think mine would fit on the plane.
You have great background starting from the development, doing some music stuff, and after that you came to the software quality assurance. So software quality, I mean, is changing all the time. What would you recommend to people who are just starting their career in this industry? What should they learn first and maybe pay attention to?
Definitely pay attention to trends. You know, we are a very fast-moving information technology society. So don't let yourself become stagnant. Always try to be focusing on learning new tech stacks, learning new tools, learning new processes. Quality of the software also requires quality of the people ensuring the quality. So if you just let yourself, become stagnant and you're not trying to always improve your processes and the way you ensure quality, your quality of the software that you're testing is going to suffer. So definitely get out there. Automation is huge right now, and it's only going to become more and more important. We're getting into most companies these days, they're rolling out multiple builds of their software a day. And to be able to ensure that those builds aren't breaking and aren't going to affect the end users or the business users, you have to make sure that you have tests that run through and make sure that everything is working. So just the main piece of advice is just to stay on top of things, always try to learn, always try to improve, because the better you are, the better you can ensure the quality of software.
Okay, great, thanks. If we take a look at the TestComplete, can you count maybe top 5 features of TestComplete that kind of you users must learn in order to create tests and other things with TestComplete?
Yeah. So in my opinion, the absolute most important thing for anybody getting started with TestComplete to learn is how to recognize objects in your application, be it desktop, mobile, or web. The name mapping is a humongous beast as far as what you can do with it, but it's also very, very feature rich. I will say that, allowing the tool to automatically map and stuff and do a record and playback is really great for getting started, but it will never be your end-all be-all product. You're going to have to go in and edit your name mapping and edit how you're finding the objects to make sure that minimal UI changes in your applications do not break your test. So things like using the extended find, making sure you're only finding the objects and interacting with the objects that you actually need to interact with. Mm-hmm. and it's definitely a learning process. And that it kind of comes back to what I was saying earlier, is always trying to learn and better yourself. If you're testing a web application, take a few free online courses for web development so you understand what the DOM is, the document object model inside of your web page. If you're testing Java applications, take a free online course and develop just a simple Hello World GUI Java application so you kind of understand a little bit more of the background processes for how these apps are being developed, and it'll help you learn how to use the object mapping or the name mapping and object identifications in TestComplete. Outside of that, just how extendable TestComplete is. If there's something the tool doesn't do out of the box, the scripting languages it provides, I haven't found anything really that I can't do myself with a little bit of research and, like I said, even taking some more online courses for learning better JavaScript. That's what we use at O'Reilly as far as how we write all of our utilities that we use. And the ability to share code across multiple projects within the tool. Definitely take advantage of that. Don't, if you have a web page that you need to log into, make sure you're creating a login script that every single test uses. The tool really allows you to reduce the amount of maintenance and reuse as much code as you write as possible. And that's definitely something that I see a lot of people getting started off don't quite wrap their head around. And if you can do that from the start, it'll help you in the long run, because it's way easier to update one script than it is to update 2,000 tests. And some of the other features that I really like about TestComplete is just how many different types of applications and technologies it supports, and how much of the boilerplate stuff it kind of handles for you. You don't have to write your own functions and classes to connect to database. TestComplete provides that for you. You can write wrappers around that works for your application, but it does a lot of the background heavy lifting for you, which makes it a lot easier to start creating your automation frameworks and your tests.
Okay, great. Great features and great advice for new people, for new members, for new users who will start using TestComplete. Okay, thanks a lot. Last year at SmartBear Connect, our user conference, you gave an incredible speech on how to move beyond manual testing. People were very excited about it. So what are you going to talk about this year?
Yeah, so this year I'm going to talk a little bit more of a bigger picture, not necessarily the technical aspects of developing an automation framework, but how to take these frameworks and tests you have and use them efficiently. And specifically using more of a risk-based approach to not only just your testing cycles, but your development cycles. So, as everybody knows, you have business requirements for the software that you're creating and testing. Some of those are high risk, some of those are low risk. And by high risk, I mean, is it going to very negatively affect the end user? Is it going to cost your company money? Low risk would be if this releases with a bug in that particular area, it's not a huge deal. So I'm talking like, if you're calculating tax incorrectly, if you're a retailer and you're selling things like O'Reilly does, and you're calculating tax incorrectly, that's a very high risk area. If your login screen, we decide that we wanted to update the text edit and there is a spelling error. Yeah, that's not good. No defect is good, but it's very low risk. It's not going to hurt the company. It's not going to hurt your users. So the whole kind of idea is to, as new features are being developed, develop and test the high risk features first. Be updating your automation scripts, your manual test cases alongside development. So as you get the release candidate of your build, you've already have automated coverage for all of these new features. You already have your tests updated so your tests don't fail. So when you get the build, you can run your full regression suite, and in theory, it should all work. I mean, that's easier said than done. There's a lot of extra stuff going in there, and nothing's ever going to be perfect. But if you develop and test and develop automated tests for your high-risk areas first, you're ensuring the highest quality software that you possibly can. And if you have time to get to the rest of the stuff, yes, great, but it's not going to be stuff that's going to necessarily hurt your software in a bad way.
It's very interesting. I'm sure it's going to be very exciting. Just a reminder for everyone, this year at the end of October in Boston, we set up our annual user conference, and all community members have a special ticket discount. So you can find more information in the community. And as we start talking about the SmartBear community, can you give some suggestions or tips for new community members on how to earn the community leader status? What should they do exactly from your experience? What have you done to earn this?
So definitely try to help out as much as possible, but at the same time, don't necessarily just do the work for the people asking for help. Try to walk them through the steps of how you would debug the problem or figure out why something is happening. Ask them questions, because I've a lot of threads that I've been involved in. It might be something very, very simple, but I can see it right off. But instead of just saying, okay, here is exactly what's happening, I'll start asking the requester questions about, okay, so what do you expect to be happening versus what is actually happening? And more often than not, with a few questions like that, it clicks in their head and they start figuring out the answers themselves. And so to me, that's what a community should be about. It's not necessarily about, just giving the answer straight out or telling someone exactly how to do something, because just like software development, test automation development it's still development. So there's a million different ways to do everything that you can possibly do. So start getting them to think about how to figure out the solution as opposed to just giving them one. And kind of the flip side of that, as far as people requesting help, the more information you can provide, the better chances are you're going to have someone be able to help you figure out what's going on. There's sometimes I'll see posts, people will say something doesn't work. That doesn't really tell us, the people trying to help you, what is actually going on. So even just a single thing like, what kind of application you're testing, if it's a browser, what versions, what OS, what version of TestComplete, and then kind of expected result versus actual result. So kind of think of when you're asking for support, how you would actually write up a defect in the software you're testing. The more information you provide to the developers, the more likely it is that they're going to be able to turn around a quick fix for the bug. Same with interacting with the community. The more information you provide with your problem, the quicker turnaround you're going to get help from someone to figure out why the problem you're having is happening. Okay,
great. Do you have any specific questions you will prefer to answer?
Like if some, like any specific questions inside the community?
Yeah.
I try to help out as much as I can. The days get busy, so I don't always get on there. I try to, the ones that I really like to help with are the really challenging ones, like someone's trying to do something that even I haven't even tried to do yet. So I'll take what they're doing and try to replicate it and try to wrap my head around what they're doing, because then to me, it's kind of a challenge for myself. And it goes back to the very first thing I said, is always trying to learn new things, better yourself so you can be a better tester or better developer. There's anything that's really kind of a challenge and like, oh, I don't know why that's happening, or I don't know exactly what they're trying to do. Trying to wrap my head around that helps me grow as well. And then when other people have questions like that, I can be like, oh yeah, I remember 2 months ago someone was trying to do this exact same thing.
Okay, great. So community, now you know that Carson likes answering any questions, and he wants to get from you as many information about the problem as about the issue as possible. So post your questions. So I would like to thank you for being with the SmartBear community and adding a lot of value by sharing your experience. We really appreciate it. Do you have anything to add to this interview, or maybe some words to the community members?
Yeah. No, I would like to say thank you to SmartBear as well, and the community, everybody involved, from the other community leaders to the members that probably just signed up this morning. Everybody's contributing together. The more we can work together to find solutions to things, the better. And that's one reason why I really like TestComplete and SmartBear and the rest of their products, is there's a great support network, not only just from the company, but from the users. And that's fantastic. I've had to ask questions myself many times, and I've gotten great solutions to it. So no, thank you to you, Tanya, and everybody else. And thank you very much for providing me with this opportunity to get on here and kind of talk for a while.
Thank you for your time, and thanks for your interview, and thanks for everything that you are doing in the SmartBear community.
Awesome, thank you. I'll see you guys in October.
Yeah, and see you in the SmartBear community online.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Bye.